Another week, another weekly reset. This is the weekly reset for Warframe, where we go over Nightwave, Teshin, all that jazz. Before we begin, first of all, there will be time codes in the description below if you want to skip to a certain section. But also, I would like to point out that to me, it feels like I'm late doing this, but I'm actually on time. But daylight savings, am I right or am I right? Anyway, let's get into it. Let's of course start with Nightwave as per usual. And we have this fly your kite for 1,500 meters. It's called horsing around. I really like that. A kite is a flying horse, in case you were curious. So you'll get from the very paradox, and once you get a certain thing unlocked in the very paradox, you can actually fly in any of the open worlds, and not just the very. So that's pretty cool with that. Complete 3 sabotage missions. It doesn't care. It doesn't care if you do them over and over again. You can just do 1 sabotage mission after another. And then we have kill 1,500 enemies, which lines up perfectly with this and this. Okay. But also we have destroy 3 Necromech Vault Guardians. Then of course we have the simple kill 30 Archimedes, complete 15 missions, and kill 500 enemies just for playing the game. But with that said, this one is harder for me to complete than you'd think, but that's only because I like survival and inlet mission the most, and it only counts when a complete screen pops up. So yeah, that's a bit annoying with that. And if you're gonna leave after like the amount of time to do 1 defense or 1 survival 5 minutes or whatever, what's the point in doing endless? Am I right or am I right? And then of course we have these, which are going to be, I'll hover over them so you guys can see. I definitely recommend picking up Corrosive Projection. It's definitely fan favorite, as it were. Back in my day, everyone used Corrosive Projection. It was just one of the things that people liked using. It would go to. Oh, and Still Charge. I definitely recommend picking up Still Charge, but for a slightly different reason. See, Still Charge had 9 capacity instead of 7, so Still Charge will give you 18 extra capacity instead of 14, like most of your was do. So that's something worth keeping in mind, I suppose. And then, of course, we have alternate skins, alternate helmets, and an emblem or 2 thrown into the mix or so. And then we have this section with these are fully built Orkan catalyst and Orkan reactors. This is a wolf beacon, which honestly, if you don't have the sledgehammer, I would recommend you pick up and maybe wait till the update comes out to use them, because they did on the dev stream hint at the fact that they're making the wolf sledgehammer as one of the weapons that are going to be easier to drop, as in they're increasing the drop rate supposedly. So I'd definitely put some stock into that, as it were. Yeah. Now it's time to visit our good buddy, good pal Teshin, and see what he has. Oh, he has a bunch of Indo for 150 steel essence. No, I can't buy the Indo. Whatever will I do? It's actually not a bad deal if you need Indo. I personally do not need said Indo. I wish it showed how much Indo I actually had here, but trust me, I have way more than 30,000. Yeah. Yeah. And they don't release primed mods all that often, if I'm being honest. So, and though it's kind of just a thing to collect for me at this point, but I like it. You know what? I wish you could use Endo to make Endo ship decorations. Let me know what you guys think of that idea. Comment section below, because I think it's a good idea. Endo ship decorations. Use Endo to make Endo decoration. That seems brilliant. The circuit. Let's see what we have here. We have Mesa, Chroma, Atlas. I personally recommend you do Atlas just because I don't like to draw this precict or whatever fight, because it's an Archwing fight type thing. Chroma is Chroma. And Mesa is also actually kind of annoying to get. You gotta fight Mutilus Alad B, so you gotta get Mutilus Key and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm gonna pick Mesa just because Mesa is as Mesa does. I don't know what that means. Don't ask me. Moving on. Still path version of the circuit. So we can get our Incarnon adapters here, and if we already have all of those, which I'll be honest, I wish we would get more in game, but DE seems to focus on what people want the most, which, you know, I do appreciate that they do that, because that's how your game is supposed to work. You know, you'll appeal to the majority of your audience. That's how it works in just about every field. Just like in market, it's all about supply and demand. The more stuff people demand, the more you supply. You wouldn't want to supply something that no one wants, because then you're just spending money to have something that's just going to go bad and stuff. Anyway, you know what? Let's go back to on topic. Okay, I'm going to hit confirm because I like to, every now and then, I like to do this just in case I do some of the circuit. I don't always do the circuit, but who knows? Who knows? I might be ready for whatever may come. Am I right or am I right? Archon Hunt. This is the Archon this week. This is the Archon Shard that you will get as a guaranteed reward for doing all three parts of the Archon Hunt. This is the percentage that it will be a Tau 4 variant of the Archon Shard, which is just a slightly higher variant, meaning that, you know, it has higher stats and stuff that it gives you. Your percentage here may be different than mine, so keep that in mind. And in order to get the Archon chart, as mentioned, you do got complete all three parts of the Archon Hunt, which are Spy, Survival, and Showdown for this week, meaning that you have to have a showdown with this Archon, which is basically an assassination mission, but the game is kind of fickle as far as if it counts it as an assassination mission. So keep that in mind. Descendia. I'm going to hover over these rewards, but Descendia is basically your typical tower climb type game mode. You know, in games where the whole game is centered around climbing a tower. Well, Descendia is basically that, the game mode, but instead of climbing a tower, you're descending to the lower point of the tower. But wait, there's more. There's a Steel Path version of this, and the Steel Path offers its own rewards, which we're going to hover over them as well. And don't worry, both the Steel Path and normal mode, the reward pool is separate, as you can see, but more than that, you're able to, every 7 floors, get a checkpoint. So you don't gotta do all 21 floors in one go if you so wish. But keep in mind that checkpoints aren't interchangeable. Like, you can't do Steel Path and then expect that checkpoint to be there on normal mode, or vice versa. So keep that in mind. The Sanctum. We are at the Sanctum, so let's visit Bird 3 of course, and see the shiny treasures. And this week, it's a Crimson Archon chart. It could be, some weeks I've had it be the same back to back, some weeks it's different. It just depends what Bird 3 wants to offer. You will need to be max standing and pay 30,000 of this standing in order to acquire it for yourself. But that's not all. No, we can go over to Necroloid, and Necroloid can I just be honest? It still seems a little bit weird having two Lloyds in the same place, and they don't really seem to care for each other. I mean, I know why Lloyd doesn't care for Necroloid, but I'm not really sure why Necroloid doesn't care much for Lloyd. Anyway, moving on. Individual parameters. These are different for each person. And then these, if you put them on, they make your game more difficult, but the reward is greater. The reward payout is greater for it. So, you know, higher risk, higher reward. That is what Deep Archimedea is all about. But Deep Archimedea isn't the only Archimedea out there. No, if we travel to the universe where it's 1999 all day, every day, and talk to Kaya, Kaya will introduce us to the wonderful world of Temporal Archimedea, which is much like, okay, see, I kind of want to do this individual parameter thing just because it literally had two of the things that I always have equipped, and I could try no-go in an Archimedea, right? Do you guys think no-go stands a chance in an Archimedea? Wow, did she just shake her head no? Don't be so negative, Nova. I mean, Kaya, come on. Okay, anyway, same format as the other Archimedea, but these are 1999 specific missions, and there's a sticker element at play here, so definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, with that said, hopefully this has helped you in some way, shape, or form, and I will catch you guys in the future. Later.